enrolled in, C face-to-face courses, and the majority of them are actually in internet courses. So you can kind of see how it looks like the trends are changing.
How many was that, 53?
It's 56.4% are actually enrolled in internet courses in summer one.
Now, does that include hybrid, or is that?
Yeah, it's all courses, yes. Any course that would be internet-based, they fall under that. Under recognitions, I would first like to recognize Dr. Alex eBay for being selected as the Weatherford College Faculty Member of the Year. I don't believe Dr. eBay is here today, but I would like to recognize him. Alex has been part of the Weatherford College family for 14 years. Dr. eBay's students would tell you that he is a brilliant professor, and his coursework and his courses are rigorous, but I think they would also say they're fair. I want to say congratulations to Dr. eBay on a job well done. I'd also like to recognize the Weatherford College softball team for once again representing Weatherford College proudly at the regional softball tournament last month at Craig Ranch. Our team finished third in the tournament this year. They also landed 11 players on the all-conference team, and Macy Perrin was named co-MVP of the year for our conference. So that was fairly impressive. Once again, congratulations on a job well done. I'd like to recognize the Weatherford College student athletes that were named to the academic all-conference team. In baseball, we had Tanner Driscoll, Cole Herron, Samuel Mahovsky, Chance Sackett, Travis Stone, and Tyler Wesley. For basketball, we had Darius Duncan and Savarje Newkirk. I hope I pronounced that close to being correct. In softball, we had Bethany Allen, Madison Graham, Taylor Maliska, and Ashlyn Monroe.
Is there any discussion? Anything else on the strategic plan?
I move approval.
We have a second?
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the Weatherford College 2016 through 21 strategic plan. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? There are none. The strategic plan is approved. Item number 6 is consideration and possible action on the tax increment reinvestment zone. We've had several discussions. The presentation made, I think, back in April by the city is still, or has been presented again here. Is there any discussion that anyone would like to make regarding this item right now? Would entertain any motions regarding the tax increment reinvestment zone? There are no motions at this time. So we'll move on to item number 7, reports.
Quickly got to that. Our budget, I'm going to present the proposed budget. It's been out on the website for the last couple of weeks if anybody has looked. Although the increase is only $2,023, I think there's some major points that I would like to bring out that have changed since we met on the preliminary budget back in April. I won't go over the first agenda item that I sent to you. The first section was on what is in the current budget, and I think that's there for your review. If you want me to go over it, I will. But I'd like to touch on the changes that we've made since then. The $2,023, the change is due, let me get to my page here, sorry. Primarily due to the our Parker County ad valorem tax estimates. They remain the same as presented in the preliminary budget pending further analysis. Our estimated values are down just a little bit. I think it says here 13 million, decrease of 13,999,000, but sometimes that adjusts real well. They'll be going through all these hearings in the month of June, and there's been some adjustments this last month. I tried to get a hold of Larry today, so I was not able to reach him. It could go a little bit further down. I just don't know at this point. Where we're currently sitting, I would estimate, if it stayed at the $13,999,000, I would estimate that we would have to increase our rate to meet the effective rate. We're currently at the total rate of .11364, and I would say it would go to 11,391 if it stayed just the same as right now. But that's only an increase of .00027, which is only 46 cents, well, per household, per average household. What the average household last year was 170,274, so that would be 46 cents per household.
A year.
And
A
we
year.
wouldn't, a year. And we would not have to, if that's effective, we would not have to go to the hearings and all that unless we decided that we needed greater income than we were receiving. Now, if that goes, if they make a lot of adjustments for all of these, the people that have filed and protested in the month of June, it could go lower, but I'll try to keep you all as soon as I hear something. I've handed out a preliminary schedule if the taxes increase over 0%. Now, this is not considered an increase when you go to the effective. You don't have to have the hearing. But if it goes over $1 over the effective rate, we would have to go to the schedule of hearings. And what we would do, they have to certify, and he may have that earlier, but they have to certify by Monday, July the 25th. Final calculations of the effective tax rate usually take place that week. And I said August 25th, but I meant July 25th. I'm very sorry there if you'll note that. Meeting to set proposed rate, we would meet the first Thursday in August. And that's so we can get all if we need additional meetings for hearings, and that's to get all those in August. Effective rate would be published in the Democrat, hopefully July the 31st. Notice of public hearings 7 days before the public hearings in the Democrat and on the WC website, and that would take place on August 16th. Public hearing number 2 would take place on August 22nd at 5 p.m. And then we would have to get a notice of the vote on the tax rate published before the meeting to adopt the tax rate, and then the meeting to adopt the vote on the tax increase would be on August the 26th. So that gives you something if you need to put those down on your schedule, so I can come back and change them later. Frank, you look like you're confused.
Yeah, I have one question.
Okay.
I'd like to know, and you could get it and email it to us whenever you have a chance. What would be the dollar value impact if we stayed at the .11364 and did not raise it up to the effective rate? I'd just like to know that. I don't need to know it right now.
Okay.
But just,
Okay.
because I do know that, I believe the appraised values have gone up some. And I know there's a lot of things coming online. I'm just speaking for the things that I'm thinking about in my
If you
mind.
stayed, it would be $11,339,000 versus $11,365,000 that we had this last year for your operating budget. So
$11,339,000 versus,
$11,365,000, and I think we have $11,388,000 in the budget this year, but it would bring in $11,339,000. And in your operating budget, now your debt service is fixed, so it's going to be so it's not going to matter.
I'd just like to know from the $54-something million, how much that would lower that budget to stay at the current rate later on, at the bottom line.
Okay.
Just whenever
Okay,
you get a chance.
I've already
to-
got this page done, so I'll just put a little note to refer to this line and send it out to you.
Yeah, because I think we need to know that anyway for the discussion.
Absolutely. Now, on the Wise County, those preliminary taxable values were reduced by $776,500 due to a 23% decrease in the Wise County taxable property values. The mineral interests were reduced by devaluation by 60%. I know that the controller at Wise County sent me a figure to put in our budget for taxes. And those are the figures that I'm working off of. Now, Mickey Hand, the appraiser there in the county, sent an adjustment up, which I have not put in here yet because Ann has not recognized that to me yet, but it's small. It doesn't really, it'll change probably a great deal more by the time it's finally certified. So I didn't put that one in. State appropriations have been adjusted to reflect a 5-year payback of the appropriations cut due to the CB audit, bringing the total appropriations to $8,709,216. That was $287,200 reduction per year.
I will note that we have not
We
been
have not
notified
heard.
yet, still from the state. We asked them for a payback period. They said that they had to go back and review their information. They would get back with us quickly. That's been almost a month now, and they have not gotten back with us. But they've also got at least 7 schools now that they've identified that we're doing everything like we were doing it. However, they probably only talked to 7 schools because we think it's closer to all 50 schools doing it. So our hope is maybe we will not end up having to pay that back at some point.
Have you thought about hosting a little,
We've talked about that. A couple of the other presidents at the softball tournament said that they were wanting to maybe get a group together and see if we could talk about it. And I'm sure it's going to be talked about this summer, so, at the conference.
okay. Can we go back to Wise County for
Mhm.
just a second?
Okay.
So
Can I do that?
the $573,000 transfer from reserves is what we would need to,
Additional. It's more than that now. When you look at what we did, we went back and we have dropped the indirect down to 5% now.
which is what we do with federal grants, right?
Right.
5%.
Most of them. So when I talked to you last time, it was at 7.5%, so roughly $254,000 that we changed. So when I did that, and the net figure from the 700, and the transfer non-mandatory would be $1,099,000. So it's going up still. When you look at that, your estimated reserves. The Wise County shows a necessary transfer of reserves of $1,099,344 to balance the budget with a 5% indirect. This will leave the reserve at an estimated $2,500,000 at 8/31/217. $2 million restricted and $500,000 unrestricted. So
Has there been any more direct communication?
Matt's been working on it every day. They've got some partnerships. We are having a celebration next week for a partnership with Midwestern State University. We're hoping down the road that may be able to generate some revenue for the institution. The first year, it's not going to because we're trying to build a partnership. But Matt, do you want to address that at all?
Just basically what you said, Dr. Eaton, that they do, I know that they are asking the state for some additional monies over the biennium. I think it was, if I remember correctly, it was $2 million that they would be asking for, $1 million per year for educational partnerships like we're dealing with.
Then, kind of related to that is some of the discussion we've had regarding mineral wells. Has the administration had any more chance to look at that with regards to the viability of what we're going to do with that campus?
I've been talking with Luke about, our OTA and our PTA programs and what's going to need to probably occur with that. I know when we talked with Arlene at the budget workshop, she said we were going to probably need a year to get all the approvals that we need if we're going to be moving out of that location. We're still discussing that. We've also got issues with Granbury and what we're going to be doing in Granbury. I had a meeting yesterday with the superintendent and the president of the chamber in Granbury, and the issue came up on our future as far as the building we're currently in. The ISD is asking for a feasibility study to be performed to find out how much the land is worth where our building is located. And the superintendent made it very clear that if it's a large number, they're probably going to have to move forward with that, which means we would have to leave that building. There's not another building that we can occupy at no charge in the county. So what would end up happening is we would be using classes at the ISD at night and go back to what we were doing years before. Now, this has to be approved by their board, and they're still wanting us to be there. So there's still a good chance that they may allow us to stay in the building that we're in, but we have no guarantees of that. They said we've got it through this year, the coming year, so through the summer of next year, summer of 17, and at that point there's going to have to be a decision made whether we get to stay in that building or if we have to move our courses back here and our students back here and then just teach night classes in Granbury.
Would it be possible by the next time that we meet to discuss the budget that we have recommendations after an evaluation by the administration on what to do with all three of those campuses for the next year or two?
We wouldn't know on Granbury just because we're not going to know by then if we're going to be allowed to keep that building or not. I think we could give you a recommendation based on if we can and if we can't.
Yes,
Okay.
yes. Possible, and understanding it's all advanced, the two hot things right now, in my opinion, are Mineral Wells and Wise County. The alternatives that we need to have in mind in case different scenarios happen. And I really think that we ought to have that before we make the final decision on our budget, because there will be things that have to be done during this budget, the coming budget year, that might impact all three of those campuses, depending on the alternatives.
I think the biggest issue is what Luke and I were going to have to talk about, and that is retrofitting some space we have on campus to work for our OTA and PTA programs, and then deciding where do you put truck driving. I think those are the main issues with that. Cosmetology we could probably put in Wise County.
Have we had any input from anyone, JC? Has anyone out there in Mineral Wells? I mean, we've talked about this a little bit now for a year or two.
Well, we've been working on it for a while, but they are still working under the conversation that you, Mr. Martin, and that President Eaton had at the meeting that we had in January. So they're endeavoring to build community support. They're looking at a new facility that's going to take money from the community, which we've never had before. To remind the board, our existing facility, you own it outright. It's in Parker County. It is college property. We have met the covenants of the GSA, so you own that, title free. You do with it what you want to. If we get support from the county of Palo Pinto, a new facility will have to be built in Palo Pinto. So that's what they're moving towards. The reality of the politics conversation we had in January, we were looking at a election possibility in November of this year or May next year. They feel strongly now that given the way the presidential election is shaping up, our most realistic success will be May 2017. So that's what they're working towards. So if there's a change, that the board judges needs to be made in that, I think certainly we need to make the community aware of that as soon as possible. But that's what they're working towards right now.
Would it be possible for for them to come and give us a little presentation on where they really see the consensus of things going?
Absolutely.
Next time?
I think if it was a pleasure of the board at your July meeting, I know there'd be a delegation of the political and community leaders that'd be happy to be here.
That would probably be in August.
August meeting.
Okay.
But we would like them, I would like them to come because, this is a hard decision for us too,
Sir.
but I would like to know, I'm pretty sure, I know they want to keep it, but we need to see what they think some definite plans are.
And they realize it's a unique situation. I mean, it does lie, the campus lies in Parker County. Matter of fact, Walter's industrial complex, 75% of that is in Parker County. And the largest industrial tax base that the junior college has actually is those plants that you drive by to get to the education center, Pico Facet, a low tool Texas pressure vessel. So they're cognizant that they're part Palo Pinto, part Parker. So, you know, it's a challenge of making that facility work and finding the right way to fund a new campus.
Please invite them to come talk to us.
I'd be happy to.
Thank you very much. Okay, I'm sorry.
Okay, that's fine. Looking at the rest, I mentioned last time that I had built in a 7% reserve on our staff insurance benefits, and we did get the final notice on that, and it was a 7% increase, so I had a pretty good grapevine to listen to, I guess, one time. And there were adjustments back into Wise County and Parker County and all that. So there really have been, all of our adjustments have been along those lines. I think someone asked me last time if I could highlight how much is included on athletics in the budget. The athletic administration of the different programs are $944,311, and then the scholarships are $830,666 for a total of $1,774,000 in this year's budget. We have not really increased those. I mean, we held pretty tight because usually the scholarships we don't raise unless we're raising tuition and fees or room and board. So it's been pretty stable at this time.
Any questions on preliminary budget stuff that we've discussed or that anyone might have any questions on? Okay, keep going. Graduation report, is that the next?
That would be me. One of the things that I really enjoy doing every year is attending the commencement exercises. It's just a real highlight for me. But following that is giving you the graduation report every year. You've got a couple of documents in this report. The first of all gives you the list of where our students rank as far as whether they received an AA, an AS, etc. And then the time frame that they received that. One of the things I want to point out on that is that there is a difference between graduates, which is the head count number, and those graduates who participate in commencement exercises. The numbers you see on this first page are actually the certificates and degrees that were awarded, and you're not going to have a 2 + 2 = 4 here because we know of at least 2 students that received 3 different degrees during the course of this year. And so those numbers are going to look like there's more than there were as far as graduating students. The other thing that I want you to be aware of is that these numbers are preliminary. We are still having students who are petitioning for graduation for this year. They're still getting us transcripts from other schools so that they can transfer those hours back. And so when we submit our report in October to the coordinating board, these numbers will be higher. But this is what we have as of right now. The next sheet that you have in your report is just a summary of the surveys that we do on the day of commencement, where we ask the students if they found a job, if it's related to their career path, where they're planning to transfer, if they are planning to transfer. And so that's just some information for you about the students that actually participated in the commencement exercises on May 14th. It's already been announced that we had one thing that happened that was very, very exciting this year, and that was our student who actually received her AA on May 14th, and she graduated from high school 2 or 3 weeks later. And that was a first for Weatherford College, and it was kind of exciting. So I think that we will probably have more of those in the future. So.
About 2 years behind her before she even got out of high school.
That's right. That's right.
Excellent. Any questions or comments? There was one item that
I forgot to mention, I was supposed to also share with you and the board the thanks from Community Christian School. The young lady Kathy mentioned, her name is Jordan Machik. I went to their ceremonies to recognize her in the school, and I was asked by their board chairman and their administrator to come back to you and the board to thank you for making dual enrollment programs possible, which let their student graduate with her AA before she got her high school diploma. So I want to share that with you.
Love it. I think it's great. I'd like to go back to item number 2. Did we have any individuals that wanted to talk in open forum? Okay, thank you. All right, very good. Future agenda items.
We will be bringing forward the proposed budget for 16-17, and also we will be setting the meeting times for next year's board meetings.
Okay. Any questions or comments on future agenda items? Announcements. Brett?
Yes, sir. Dr. Eaton and Dr. Joyner mentioned a few minutes ago about our celebration next week in Wise County. It's going to be on Tuesday, the 14th, at 10:30, and that is 10:30, right, Matt? The ceremony that we are celebrating with Midwestern State University in Wichita Falls, signing those articulation agreements. Will be coming on our campus, and so we'd love to have board members up there with us that day. It'd be awesome to have you there. After that, they're going to have kind of a cake and punch celebration and reception, and we're talking about an hour tops. So again, that's Tuesday the 14th at 10:30 at our Wise County campus. And that's pretty much all I have for you besides the beginning of our summer 2 semester, which is July 13th.
Is Midwestern teaching any courses down up at, in Wise County now by any chance?
They will begin in summer 2.
Great, excellent. Okay, that finishes all the open items. Do we have a need to go into closed session? I don't think that there is. If not, then thank you for your attendance, Mr. Curley. I'd like to entertain a motion for adjournment then.
Second.
Been moved and seconded that we adjourn. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? There are none. Meeting is adjourned. Thank you very much.